Well, the idea that people who work in a plant ought to own it is just deeply built into working class culture. So right around here at the early Industrial Revolution in the late 19th century, the working people simply took for granted that, yes, of course, the workers should own the mills in which they work. Anything else is an attack on our fundamental rights as free citizens. They also took for granted that wage labor is hardly different from slavery. It's different only because it's temporary. And then you can be free. One of the ways you can be free is by owning your own plants. That was not an exotic view. That was Abraham Lincoln's view. In fact, it was a principle of the Republican Party in the late 19th century. It's taken a lot of effort to drive those ideas out of people's heads, but they're still there, and they are very relevant.
Vous avez beaucoup critiqué les États-nations en leur attribuant tout un tas de désastres. Mais quelle est la place de l'État?
Well, we have to be careful about this. I mean, we live in this world, not in some imaginary world. In this world, there happen to be major tyrannical institutions called corporations, which are about as close to totalitarian as any institutions humans have devised. They're almost unaccountable to the public, and they are like predators. And in order for the public to defend themselves against these predators, the only instrument that they have is the state. Now, it's not a very powerful weapon because the state is very closely allied to the predator. And the only way to change this is to replace industrial feudalism by industrial democracy. Industrial democracy means that working people will control the institutions, the factories, the commerce, distribution, the communities, and so on. At that point, there also should be a gradual disappearance of the state. Will be replaced by voluntary associations in places of work, in places where people live.
C'est les Soviets, c'est pas les Soviets?
Exactly. Well, it was the Soviets, but remember that the first thing that Lenin and Trotsky did was destroy the Soviet and the workers' councils.
Et les conseils de travailleurs.
And in fact, every democratic institution in
toutes les institutions démocratiques où se retrouvaient les gens.
I mean, they were the worst enemies of socialism in the 20th century, and for principled reasons. I mean, they were orthodox Marxists who believed that a poor, backward peasant society like Russia couldn't have socialism. So it had to be driven by force to industrialization. But it is, in my view, correct that they were the worst enemies of socialism in the 20th century. This I understood when I was 10 years old, 1940.